Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I am very honored to introduce Nick Ciccone, who is the proprietor, the owner, founder of 2Moods, which is a spiked vodka seltzer. So, Nick, welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem. So I'm going to get into a little bit of history as I always do with our guests, but I know that this is not your first run with a beverage company. In fact, your family history encompasses since 1942, I think, um, uh, food and beverages so you have a long history in Philadelphia.
hmm it's actually 33, so like since Prohibition, really that my family's had a beer distributor in South Philly in the Point Breeze section. Um, Obviously, it's a little bit different because that was beer and non-alcoholic beverage, and Two Moods is a spirit-based product, but there's a lot of crossover.
There is, and I mean, I know with the given your history, your family's history with it, because I know that it's multi generations that have run that location, and the fact that it's still running and in the same location as it originally opened, I is remarkable.
Yeah, so it's actually still called Ciccone Beverage, although technically my family no longer owns it. But my dad does, you know, work there, kind of run the place, multiple days a week. Um, so I think the family decided to sell it in about 2016, um, which was around the time I was graduating college. I had kind of some other career plans, which I went out and did, and then kind of a few years down the line came full circle and back into the beverage space I am.
Yeah, and I did look up your history. I didn't actually find that you guys had sold it, so I apologize for not knowing that. But
No, no problem.
but I did also look up you went to school for a lot of bit like you have a very strong business background.
Yeah, so I undergrad I studied finance and management, which I never directly used after I graduated. I kind of went more into the tech space, companies of various sizes doing consulting work, sales work, and kind of product management work. Um, did that for a few years. Ultimately, went back to school uh, for a graduate degree, which was a master's of engineering and technical entrepreneurship up at Lehigh University, which is you know provided kind of a great foundation for the kind of the whole startup experience of encompassing all aspects of creating a brand and launching it from scratch.
And yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that that definitely helps with you doing all of that. So what actually inspired you to change it up? Because I believe you were doing you were working at Raise, which was like a nonprofit kind of um social media app.
Yeah, so I did that with one of my best friends, and he's still working on it full time now. But it was a social media app that does donation processing, connects volunteers with nonprofits, for volunteer events, whatever it might be. Um, but it just it was kind of just a point in time where I wanted to do other things, and the timing of how things were going just made for a clean and easy break. Um, but specifically, get back to the beverage space. Um, I've always really liked the space, because of my background growing up in it. I've just always been fascinated with kind of like critiquing brands and figuring out I think this is going to work. People are going to go for that. Both on the alcohol and the non-alcohol side. Um, but yeah, it was really just one of those things that I was always looking for opportunities to get back into the space on the brand side of things. Uh, Worked on a few concepts that, for one reason or another, never fully brought to market or made any sort of legitimate moves on, until I kind of came upon the concept of Two Moods and this new sort of spin on variety that I really decided, like, hey, this is this is a worthwhile pursuit that I think has legs.
Yeah. So how did you come about like deciding upon what exactly you were gonna do, the two moods, literally chill or thrill, and formulating the beverages as they are currently.
Yeah, so the whole kind of concept was that I think there's opportunity in playing around with the concept of ABV and levels of alcohol content. Because if you look across categories, someone drinking beer, they might have a few light domestic lagers, and then switch over to an IPA, something a little bit higher in alcohol content, have one or two of those, and then maybe go back to the a Miller Lite, a Bud Light, whatever it might be, depending on how they're feeling. Um, Even with mixed drinks and like well drinks, hey, do you want a single or do you want a double? Um, so with 2Moods, for each flavor that we have, we offer a 4% option known as chill and an 8% option known as thrill, which creates a really fun kind of back and forth. Um, we don't think we'll ever need 30 flavors. I think sales numbers tell us, and just conversations with people tell us that they sort of know what flavors they tend to gravitate towards. So currently we have a black cherry, which is delicious. We have a pink lemonade, and we have our third flavor that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks here. Um, so I'll tease that a little bit. Um, but as far as the formulation process, that was something I had never done before. It was a very cool process. I have a lot more respect for sommeliers and people who are able to taste something and fully articulate, and this has this hint, or you need to tweak this. Um, but thankfully, I was able to work with some consultants that are pros in this world of formulation, and developing the right ingredient list, and tweaking it this by me kind of just you know throwing up words like, hey, this kind of tastes like this, and this kind of tastes like that, and they kind of understand and know how to tweak certain levels to get it to what our final product came to be.
I mean, I don't know. I've developed recipes before, but never with beverages. But my co-host, who's sitting silently right now, is well informed on fermented beverages. Um, but I don't know if he has any questions or not. But he's he has developed different like flavor profiles, and I'm sure that you went through a test section, like you were tasting it. And I mean, you're saying that you threw up words, but um that's just a way to describe things. But like during the process, I'm sure you were like testing out, um each thing that came off the line of like, oh, I need this to be more flavorful, or this needs to be, simmered down a little bit. So what was that process like for you?
Yeah, it was certainly much more organized and scientific than me just throwing up words. But it started, you know, like anyone would do, just in my kitchen, playing around with, just ordering different flavors online. I kind of quickly realized that with the tools I had at my disposal, I needed help. So that's why I started working, with this kind of formulation company. And that what that looks like was, hey, this is kind of what we're aiming for. They would send out samples. Uh, you know, the team and I would get on a Zoom call. We test them. Kind of talk about it. Then we would get feedback. For each set of samples from close friends and family, on a blind taste test, comparing them to kind of some other of our competitors,
Mhm.
and really just kind of narrowing in on how we wanted it to taste, look, smell. And I would say there's probably you know I don't know, 8 or 9 back and forths, kind of for each of our SKUs to get it to where we want, which is a time consuming process, especially when you're not physically located in the same spot. Our samples at the time were coming from out in Chicago. So I added some time to it, but I was working with some really smart folks, and I'm really pleased with where we ended up.
Yeah. And I know that you have in your history as well, like an engineering degree. So I'm sure that like that side of you, the scientific side of you is kind of like, giving accolades to the process in general.
Yep. Yes, that piece of my background is really kind of product design type focused. So I don't want people getting confused thinking I could be like a civil engineer or anything like that. Um, but yeah, it certainly helped with the process of kind of having a organized and scientific approach to starting at A and getting to Z.
Yeah. But I mean, the outcome obviously is a very flavorful, approachable, or, for your chill, but like also fun for your thrill beverage.
Mhm,
Now I know with the black cherry and the pink lemonade, those are two very popular flavors and easy, go-tos. Because I know most people, if you poll them, they're like, "Ooh, I like vanilla, I like black cherry, I like," So I'm sure that you polled people too on what flavors
mhm.
to go towards. Um, but because you have such a strong business background and like, you have a history in marketing to a certain degree, what was it like for you when you were launching?
It the space it's a tough space, but it's a fun space. I think the biggest thing of that I'm still figuring out. We only launched this summer, early July, so this is still a work in progress. Still figuring out what's going to resonate and what really is the best way to approach things. Um, but it's really been about what can I get the most. How do I make every dollar stretch and get the most bang for my buck in terms of what I spend on any type of marketing or publicity type things. Um, so that's been the biggest thing, and a lot of that is coming down to relying on my network of friends and family that can help with design, and the people I know that just know thousands of people, and like, hey, can you repost this on your social media, um, which as a new brand, that's kind of the name of the game at this point.
Yeah. Now, as far as celebrating your launch, you opened in a iconically Philly area, Kavanaugh's in Philadelphia, which and you did a giveaway, which was I think huge. You did, and I thought it was cute because you did a chill and a thrill. You did
Mhm,
a spa giveaway with it, along with, a chance to win concert tickets. So I
mhm.
think that was probably appropriate for that. But when people kind of crack open one of your cans, like what do you look towards, for them to like enjoy the most?
The most exciting thing is when there's an opportunity to get them to try both of them. Because if you just try the 4%, like, don't be wrong, I think our 4% chills are delicious, fantastic. People like them, but to then compare it to the 8%, which our 8% is a little bit less carbonated. Um, people hear 8% and they, whoa, hey, easy there, but it really is smooth. There's not a lot of bite. So when they do the back and forth, and it's like, wait, let me try this one. Hmm. It's fun to see. Um, in a sampling sense, as well as just kind of buying behavior at the on premise at bars. A lot of times we'll see customers try, they'll start with the chill or the thrill, they'll try the other, and then they'll go back to the one they initially started with just to kind of figure out, I can't decide which one I like the most here. So that part's been really fun to see.
Now, I mean, obviously, cracking open your can and just drinking it as is, going to be enjoyable. But like, have you played around at all and tried to make like some fun like meshes of cocktails with it?
Yep, and some of the bars that we're in, especially with the 8%, they kind of lend themselves well for creating some sort of cocktail. Um, my father-in-law, he likes to mix uh, the 8% of the pink lemonade and the 4% of the black cherry, So that way you get a black cherry, pink lemonade. I guess if your volume's right at 6%, kind of averages out.
That's cute. And the fact of the like you are a Philadelphia-based company. Like you're born and raised in the area and you're launching in the area. Do you have plans to try to expand to other places and can people purchase or ship to other states with your cocktails?
Yes. So right now, we are just available. We're in about, I'll call it like 17 bars, in Philadelphia, Conshohocken, Delaware County, a few further out. We're in like Beaver Stadium up to Penn State. Um, we currently, if you live in Pennsylvania, we can ship to your door. Um, we would like to open up, online direct consumer to a few other states within the next couple of months or so. Um, but our main priority right now is to get on the shelf in the state stores in Pennsylvania, which is a process in itself that hopefully by mid-November we'll start with usually starting with 10 stores for a Pennsylvania brand and allow you to kind of slowly and gradually expand out to more stores so that you just make sure that the product is moving before we bite off more than we can chew.
This is
But
also
then and then with obviously vodka seltzers, it's a fairly seasonal drink, not as crazy as it used to be, but before next summer, we would love to have a little bit of a presence in New Jersey, maybe Delaware. Certainly regionally, I don't think we'll try and expand too quickly, too fast.
well, thinking on where people can find you, let our people know, like, where they can pick you up and find you in bars.
Yeah, I mean, just a handful of bars where JJ Bootleggers, uh, Kavanaugh's, Brittenhouse, the River Deck, Conshohocken. We're out in Guppies, Franzones, um, Delaware County, Dom and Mia's, Maggie Mays is the Widener campus bar. Um, yeah, just a handful of spots. If you want to visit our website, drink2moods.com, you can buy 2 8 packs. We'll ship it to your door, and if you use the code GoBirds, all one word, that'll give you 10% off.
All right. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
And I look forward to your next flavor.
Coming soon.
All right. And we will be right back after this short break. Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I'm very happy to introduce you to Kathleen Lochel, who is the owner of Lochel's Bakery. Kathleen, welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, hello, Kathleen. It's such a pleasure to have Lochel's on. I live right in the area, so I'm quite familiar with Lochel's Bakery. And if anybody doesn't know Lochel's, you are certainly in the minority and need to get out to Hatboro and try some of their products. And this time of year, Phillies season, when you have your Phillies cookies and you do Eagles cookies later on, and then you do at presidential time your cookies to predict the winner and all that stuff. But Lochel's is this great little community bakery that has so many specialty products. I just love your establishment. I guess you can tell by the excitement in my voice. So welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you. I appreciate that wonderful introduction. It was very sweet of you.
Well, it's all true. And getting to Hatboro, Pennsylvania, was certainly a journey for you guys. Lochel's goes back, this is third generation. You're 70, I guess 1942. So you got a lot of years behind you, but you started out in Philadelphia and then kind of came up. If I know the history, you came to Warminster, then Levittown.
Yes.
And you were really well established in Levittown. I grew up in Bristol Township, so I knew you back then. And then you had a devastating fire at the bakery, and you ended up in Hatboro, and now you are just part of the fabric of the community here. Tell us a little bit about the generations how who founded it and how you got to where you are.
Sure, thank you. So my husband is actually the third generation owner. His grandfather was a baker in the Navy and cake decorated. So that's where it all started back in the 40s. And yes, the original bakery was in South Philly at 2nd and McKean. Then it moved to Warminster through an uncle purchasing it and taking it over. And then my father-in-law purchased it at auction because it went out of business and brought it into Levittown, Bristol Township, where it was very well established, and the fire truly devastated the family. My husband and I had just started dating. We were seniors in high school, and with lack of insurance money, they had to find an existing bakery that was for sale. So that's how it ended up in Hatboro. Uh, 2005, my husband and I took it over, and we have far exceeded what our plans were, what we thought we could do. And we're very happy in Hatboro, and we hope to be there for many years. It's definitely a hard business. It takes a huge toll on you and your family, but we do love what we do.
It reflects in the quality of your products and just the customer service that you get in Lochel's, the community feel. It's where people go for wedding cakes. It's where people go for the holidays. But you do some really wonderful, wonderful holiday things and things that everybody doesn't do. Like you do a George Washington cake, and I'm pretty sure you're going to have to explain that to our listeners. But you also make an amazing Jewish apple cake there around the holidays. You do Stollen. You do the very hard to find sprinkly cookies. You do so many things, and then obviously around the springtime when we're all getting ready to celebrate, everything, New Orleans and everything like that. On Fat Tuesday, you guys do an actual, real Fastnacht.
Yes.
So if you could take a minute and explain to our listeners what the difference is between Donut Day donuts and Fastnachts, as well as some of the other specialty products you do.
Sure. So a George Washington cake is very old school. So you really have to love a bakery and know like old school baking to know a George Washington cake, which is a spice cake. And it has chocolate fudge on top and one cherry for George Washington. Uh, we sell a lot of it. Surprisingly, we will never take it out of the store. I like to tell people that we are an old school bakery with a modern twist because when the third generation took over, we modernized a lot and introduced a lot. So, Jewish apple is a traditional cake, but it's so moist and delicious that we can't take it away. Um, Donut Day is different than Fat Tuesday, yes. So Fat Tuesday is celebrated the day before Ash Wednesday. And I will tell you a little fun fact that is our busiest day of the year. So people generally think it's Christmas Eve, but it is Fat Tuesday.
Huh.
So yes. So much so that we open on Monday now, the day before the actual holiday to keep up with the demand. So the actual Fastnacht donut is made, our recipe includes mashed potatoes in it. So we are taking potatoes, boiling them, putting actual mashed potatoes into the dough. Whereas a donut doesn't have that. They're yeast raised. We also make some cake donuts, which are the thicker traditional donuts, like a Dunkin' type of donut that you would put in a coffee. But the Fastnachts are so wonderful. It's the longest line of the day. It's our busiest day. It's also the hardest day to keep up with because all the teenagers are in school that day. So we have a lack of help that day. But it's fun. It's exciting. And I will tell you, probably about 30 to 40,000 average that day alone in donuts, Fastnachts.
Yes,
Wow.
the line you literally become the sensation of Hatboro, and for
Yes.
people who don't know Hatboro, it is 2 lanes, one going each way through the center of town. Lochel's is situated kind of right in the middle of town, so the line goes up around the block, and it's just an amazing thing to take part in that. And I just love the fact that you actually do a real Fastnacht. So many people cheat and they do little things. And I'm a purist. I'm a culinary history, lover, and I love traditional recipes. So when I can find a place that does a George Washington cake, and when I can find those wonderful products, I just gravitate to that. So I've had a few of yours in my career.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I will tell you too, with the Fastnachts, I say to people, if you go to a bakery and they don't fry their donuts, don't buy them there. Like, you need to have a fried donut. Don't use a frozen donut. Get your awesome donut made on the premises.
Well, that is, something I need to reiterate with about your bakery. You are a scratch bakery, and that makes all the difference in the world. So many places today it's mixes and batters and things like that, and you are a scratch bakery. And I'm saying that as an observer, looking in and being able to, differentiate that as somebody who knows his way around the kitchen of the bakery. So, I don't, know that from, you telling me that. I know that from, looking in and then tasting the products,
Thank
makes
you.
such a difference.
We try, and in doing that though, there's, costs are involved, salary is high, but I feel that people who truly want that will support you, and they know the quality. They know that all goes into our small business, and they appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. You are so embraced up here in the community. Uh, I remember going back to the last election when you were doing the cookies for that, and you have a long-standing tradition of being able to pick the winner. So
Yeah, I wasn't really happy about the last one. I'll be honest. Like, I really thought we had the winner. But there's next year, and
that's right. That's right.
we did
If
sell
I'm
40,000.
Yeah, if I'm correct, that one was the first time you were not correct.
Yeah, and if you ask some people, they say I was correct. Some people I wasn't correct.
Well, yeah,
I don't know who's correct.
yeah, we don't
What
we
put
don't
in
want
there?
we don't want
Yeah,
we don't
but
want to get in there on this show.
but
But
I know that we won as a small business. And that's what I tell people. Like, we won in 2020 when we didn't even know if our bakery was going to continue. So selling those cookies truly saved us. I'll be very honest with you. And it provided jobs to people temporarily while they couldn't find jobs. So regardless of winners or losers, I feel that the bakery and the community won in that.
so coming into this lovely holiday season that we have, tell us what's kind of in store. Let's start with, coming up. Do you have anything for Halloween? And then we'll touch on, obviously Thanksgiving, and then we're gonna certainly talk about Christmas because you make an amazing stollen, and
Thank you.
that's a hard product to get done right.
Yeah, so right now we're like full force Phillies and Eagles. Like, we can't keep up with the demand of the Phillies and Eagles right now, which is a terrific problem to have. Um, and then we go into Halloween, and our most popular items at Halloween are cupcakes, cookies, and decorated items for parties and, classroom gatherings, work gatherings. And this year, I finally feel that after COVID, that people will start having those gatherings at work again. So that's a great positive. Then we head into our Thanksgiving, and thousands of pies. When I tell you thousands, it's not even a stretch because we do like 8 school fundraisers. So we are really touching the Tri-County area with some of these fundraisers as well. So our most popular pie is actually apple. Little fun fact, over pumpkin. Pumpkin is second. And we also make great like breads and rolls. So there's so much for Thanksgiving, wonderful fall features. Then we go into Christmas. And yes, we do make a traditional stollen. People get it shipped all over. I'll put it back on our web store. And it's actually very delicious. People underrate the stollen. If you warm that up with butter, it is fantastic.
Oh, I absolutely agree 100%. It's often better the next day, or it's a secondary thing, just for breakfast, and when we're in the kitchen, preparing for next day's meals or whatever like that. It is certainly a way to go. And you are not without competition. I mean, you
No.
have a lot of other area bakeries. Willie's has presence up here, but they're just not you. They're not that scratch. Wonderful bakery, but you have a lot of competition in Hatboro, and you just seem to rise above and really become you are part of the fabric of the neighborhood and the community, and not just Hatboro, but Warminster, and this whole kind of Montgomery County, Bucks County line right here. My establishment is right up the road in Warminster, and we have sent many a client your way through the years, and just you have embraced that. What's the feeling as the holidays come and people come in? It has to be very heartwarming for you to see second generation now coming in and shopping in your business.
It is. I think what separates us sometimes is that I am very open and I'm on the social media, and some people don't even like what I have to say, but I feel like you do find that connection with people. So I love our competition. I'm happy that they're there serving people that otherwise couldn't get to a local bakery. But I do think that that does separate ourselves, our social media presence, and that I am just like, I keep going. Even with my three kids who are all in the background, I just keep going and going and going. So that definitely helps. Uh, you know, I love what I do, like I said to you. I have a lot of competition. I love Hatboro. I want to stay there. There's a lot of developing in Hatboro going on, but we're there to stay. And I can't thank the people enough. I can't thank you for sending people our way and anybody else. I love what I do.
So tell our listeners a little bit more, because in my business we do a lot of this too. Your involvement with community fundraisers and things like that, how that works. At my brewery we do dine and donate nights often for area charities, but you do a lot of school fundraisers. So tell our listeners how that works and how they can benefit from reaching out and looking to do fundraisers like that, staying away from the holidays, of course.
Sure. So Thanksgiving we do pies. There is a wait list because that's how many people want us, which again is a good problem to have. But then we do a pound cake fundraiser year round. They can do chocolate chip and vanilla pound cake. They sell that. We deliver it to them. There is a small profit to them. Well, it ranges anywhere between like 25 and 40% that the nonprofit or the school organizations keep. And then we do at Christmas, there's some that do cookie trays, and we can also create something for that organization that is custom to them. We've done that previously as well. Although people want Fastnacht fundraisers, that's just not something we can do. We can't keep up. Yes.
No, it's funny because to do it right, it's actually a time-consuming product. It's not a real, it's not a simple batter, and it's a little bit more complex than that. So, yes, it is funny, and but it is only a one day a year thing, and I love when people say, "Oh, we should do that more often." It works, it's so good. Well, it works because it's one day a year, and it's traditionally that one day a year.
But we did make them the day after for Ash Wednesday this year because we had like some employees that were at college and they wanted them. So I put a post on Facebook, and you can't imagine how many people wanted them. But yes, you are correct. It's once a year, and that's what makes them so special.
I'm wondering.
So
No, keep going.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, like, do you need a vacation after it?
So we had intended on closing Ash Wednesday next year because we felt the need for it. But Ash Wednesday and Valentine's are the same day next year. So we
Yes,
can't
it is.
close next year. But our
Nope.
intention after that is to close on Ash Wednesday after next year. Yes. It is just so overwhelming and wonderful that I have to keep the tradition going.
So I'm wondering, as a Catholic, I could pose this question. Being that Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day are right there, we often find at St. Patty's Day you can get a disposition for being able to eat meat on St. Patty's Day when it's on a Friday, and so on and so forth. I keep waiting for you don't have to give up sweets until the day after Ash Wednesday.
We're Catholic
because
as
of
well. Yeah, I'm waiting for that too. because that's going to
No,
be a hard one.
right. So
I mean, we'll
it'll be,
see. We
yeah, we have to get a little special thing going for
Yeah.
that.
I
So
wonder
that
if
we
chocolate
can,
covered
yeah.
strawberries would be excused since it's a berry fruit, we'll try to work it out.
There you go. Yeah, we can. We can. Like anything, you can always play with the rules and bend the rules, and do things like that.
It's what keeps us in business and different from everyone else. There you go. You answered the question.
All right. So going short on time here. Tell our listeners where they can find both your physical shop, where they can find you on social media, how they can get more information about the bakery.
Sure. We are located at 57 South York Road in Hatboro, which I was going to say next to Gamberg's, but they're closing. But we are attached to Gamberg's, right in the center of Hatboro near the Produce Junction. There's parking in the back and on-street parking. We are very active on our social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And you can email us at bakery@lochelsbakery.com, and we'll be more than happy to help everybody with anything they need in the bakery world.
Well, and for our listeners out there, one of the sweet ways to celebrate the Philadelphia Phillies and the Eagles right now, though the Eagles are a little, on the negative list today with a lot of people. But the Phillies are going strong. Is to go in and try some of the incredible Lochels cookies from the Philadelphia Phillies and Eagles, and look forward to the holidays with you. I'm sure next time in the store I'll say hello.
Yes, please do.
And get out and support local scratch bakeries, and it's going to be hard to find one better than the Lochels.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You. Bye.
Bye. Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I am so excited to be able to introduce you to Tara Torrance, who is the Biscuit Lady. Tara, welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem.
Well, welcome to Food Farms and Chefs. So, reading your history and getting a little bit about what you do. And by the way, one of the simplest pleasures in life is a really, really well done biscuit. And, when you talk about making it with quality ingredients and love, that is really all that a biscuit screams. It screams love. It screams somebody cares for me. It screams, somebody loves me and took the time to make this simple thing so delicious. But your business is all about that. But you don't come from the world of bakery or biscuits, and you're not, Southern hospitality. So tell our listeners a little bit about your journey, because you came a very unique world to get to where you are.
I did indeed. So yeah, I do not come from the bakery world. I don't come from the food industry, aside from bartending and waitressing experience here and there. I come from a financial background. So I've done real estate for many years. And then prior to that, I did mortgages for a number of years. And, of course, although those things paid the bills and they were great for that reason, and, it was fun and exhilarating in certain different ways, but nothing like what food can do for your soul, or what giving someone a great meal or putting a smile on someone's face by, handing them like their favorite meal can ever do. Right. So as I was kind of transitioning out of being a stay-at-home mom and kind of working my real estate business a little bit, I started to think about these things like, man, I'm getting close to 40. Like, what am I going to do with my life? Right. What am I going to do to change things? And not that I think like biscuits change the world, but in a way, like, right, with smiles and happiness and things like that, I think food certainly can change the world and can really put, happiness into someone's heart. So as I'm sitting there thinking, like, it sounds a little cheesy, right? But as I'm sitting there thinking, literally 14 months ago from now, 14 months ago, sitting on the beach thinking, like, what am I going to do with my life, right? What am I going to do? And I started researching different ways to make food products from home. And so as I was doing that, I started thinking, wow, I make like amazing biscuits, and I always have. So wonder if I could like start this biscuit business and just kind of see where it takes me. And as I'm sitting there, like talking this through with my husband, as we're sitting on the beach watching our kids run around, I'm like fleshing it all out and like all these details are coming to me. So as I'm sitting there, like, you hear people describe a light bulb moment, and I'd never had one before, but this was a true light bulb moment for me. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Right. So that's kind of the beginning of my story and how I got into it, I would say.
Well, you emphasize the idea that, a quality biscuit is made with butter and love, and you can't have too much of either in a good quality biscuit. And as a person who, lives by, if 2 ounces of butter is good, 4 ounces is better. I
Yes.
certainly agree with you. It has always been my nature as a chef and a baker and all to, incorporate lots of butter, but incorporate the best possible ingredients I can get my hands on. And that is something that you live by there. I mean, you use the finest quality flours,
Yes.
you use prime meats a little bit. But how did you go from this idea and was biscuits something in your family, or, you went from, I can make great biscuits to making great biscuits?
Right. And we've kind of like went like local viral, I would say, in Philly. So yeah, I think it was just really like a lot of things kind of aligned correctly for me. One was a great product and my dedication to quality ingredients and knowing that this particular item was missing in the Philly food scene, right? Like there's biscuits here and there, but there's not biscuit shops, right? And I assume that as time goes on, there will be more biscuit shops that open up because certainly there is a demand for it. But it's kind of cool that I've set the tone for that, and I'm really proud of that. And I think that just taking the leap from making great biscuits, right? I marketed myself in a local moms group, the Philadelphia Roxborough Moms Group, and the Women of White Marsh Group, just like various different local, very tight knit moms groups that I felt comfortable kind of opening myself up to and just kind of trying out my business idea. And from the moment I started taking orders and baking from my small little kitchen and delivering locally, like it blew up. And when I say it blew up, like I literally couldn't handle the amount of orders that were coming in. And so it was that moment that I knew I had something really special. And so I decided to seek out ghost kitchens and different partnerships and things like that that I could take advantage of, because as we all know, right, starting any business is a major financial commitment. So in my particular case, I didn't want to like take our life savings and be like, what are we going to do here? Right. Because my husband would probably not love that idea very much. So we didn't do that. And we partnered with Lucky's roadside stand in Manayunk. They allowed us to rent space in their kitchen. And that's kind of how our idea took off. So from the moment we opened, it's been a hit. There's been a line out the door. I think people can sense the passion in the food and, just treating my customers like family. And that's the foundation of this business, is that we're never going to deviate from quality ingredients. We're never going to start adding preservatives or anything crazy like that. Like always dedicated to quality ingredients and excuse me, always dedicated to a very pleasurable experience. Like we want our customers to absolutely feel like they're family, because they are, right? Like without your customers in any business, you just have nothing. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it took off. It's really, it's like I said, it's a lot of right things lining up for us, and it's been amazing. I'm in awe of how our business has taken off. So.
Well, and you really embraced the Philadelphia culture by doing, a Southern style biscuit made with love, and they're oversized. So, for our listeners out there, these are not just your, routine little biscuits that you're going to get with your dinner table. These are, oversized biscuit sandwiches made with quality ingredients, homemade jams, things like that. But somebody who's really embraced the Philadelphia, market. So my two favorite of your biscuits, right off the bat, that I just fell in love with, are the Neighborhood John and the Uptown Girl. That little play on Billy Joel and the city, but in the Neighborhood John, which is just that combination of spice and savory. Tell our listeners about both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny because the Neighborhood John is my favorite as well. And when you speak about these sandwiches, like it brings a smile to my face, because they're creations that my team and I came together and really came up with all the ingredients. Everything's made from scratch in our kitchen, even our pimento cheese on our Neighborhood John. So to kind of touch on the Uptown Girl first, we'll start with that one first. That was actually a sandwich that we were featured in the Philadelphia Inquirer for a few months back, which was really amazing to me, being a brand new business. You know, they reached out to us directly and came in and tried our sandwich unbeknownst to me, and then reached out and said, let's do an article on this sandwich. Could it be Philadelphia's best and messiest breakfast sandwich? So with that particular sandwich, it's basically our take on a fancy bacon, egg, and cheese, right? So we take the peanut butter, one layer, strawberry jam, one layer, and then in the middle of this huge buttermilk biscuit, we put a bacon, egg, and cheese. So, you know, it's this whole kind of monstrosity of deliciousness, right? It's got the salty, it's got the sweet, it's got the bacon, it's got the egg and the cheese all on a, you know, like I said, a buttery biscuit. And it's fantastic. And it's one of our most popular sandwiches. I think a lot of people really love that melty peanut butter, that sweet and savory combo. So that is our Uptown Girl. And yes, I did, as you'd mentioned, Jean, name it after the Billy Joel song, because my girls love that song. Family will always be is the most important thing to me. So, you know, hearing, you know, that song and thinking of my daughters and the fact that we had a fancy bacon, egg, and cheese, we decided to call it the Uptown Girl. And in fact, all of our sandwiches on our menu have a very significant meaning. So it's not just the Uptown Girl, not just the Neighborhood John. Our original 3 sandwiches are named after very important women in my life. And then the Neighborhood John is named after basically the neighborhood, right? The neighborhood that has supported us, that has helped us grow into this amazing business. We decided to call the Neighborhood John, which is the second sandwich I'll talk about, the Neighborhood John, to kind of pay homage to the neighborhood and how they've supported us and really, I mean, spread the word and helped us grow from this teeny little shop into what we are now. So the Neighborhood John is a sausage, egg, and cheese, and we get our sausage from Carl Venetia, who's a butcher out here in Plymouth Meeting. Very high quality products, like the best you can get in the area. So we do get all of our meat products from Carl Venetia, including our sausage patty. We take that with our house-made pimento cheese. And for our listeners who don't know what pimento cheese is, it is somewhat of a, I guess I would say, a Southern kind of cheese. From my knowledge, it
Very
is
Southern.
it's Southern, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It is cheddar, cream cheese, jalapeno, some various other spices that we put in there. We put cayenne pepper and just really, I mean, high quality, like basic ingredients, just like everything else that we have on the menu. But that is layered in with the sausage. So that gets a little bit melty on the sandwich, sausage, egg, and cheese, the pimento, and then layered in between a buttermilk biscuit. So it's got a little bit of a kick. It's got the savory of the sausage. It's got the melty cheese. It's incredible. So for anyone who hasn't tried that, I recommend, those are our top 2 sandwiches, in my opinion. And then our sales dictate that as well. So
I don't know about you, Jean, but I'm hungry now.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. You know, something I could, you know, my biggest problem in your business is going to be I want one of everything.
right.
You know, and I only eat a small amount of each, but you know, that's my style. Is like, you know, I like the grazing table kind of thing, and to try everything and sit down and do that. You know, but just really, you know, the love, the thought that you put into it, the planning process. You know, the combination of business savvy with, you know, just wanting to create something unique in a city that is really not, you know, full of Southern roots and Southern flavors. I mean, you know, we embrace barbecue and we embrace mac and cheese through, you know, the doings of like Delilah Winder through the years and other people. But, you know, they were long, hard sells, and, you know, that is very cultural. It's not necessarily the Southern style. So you came to a difficult city to do that, you know. I mean, you know, last week we had, you know, the Atlanta Braves in town, and you know we're not really fond of, you know, places like Atlanta in the South. So, you know, we like our northern foods up here. But
It's actually funny that you mentioned the. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, it's funny that you mentioned the Atlanta Braves. Last week we had an Atlanta fan in, and I said, "Go Phils," you know, just in my normal nature, like, "Go Phils," right? And he unzips his sweatshirt to show me his Atlanta Braves. And I said, "Well, I don't think I have any food left there." We're actually sold out, which was it's not my nature, but I was like, no, we can't. I mean, of course, now let's stop. I did serve him. I'm not that that crazy and that ruthless, but I was joking with him. I'm like, we can't serve you. You know, this is
Not with
Philly,
that
right?
shirt.
Right. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we are true Philadelphians. It's who we are. We live, we live and die our sports teams here, and we do that. Do you do any kind of specials other than what your regular menu is? Do you kind of get up in the morning and say, you know what, let's do this, let's try
I
this?
yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so every week we're doing a brand new biscuit. Some of the biscuits are our like classic biscuits that we'll keep on our menu probably forever because they're just classic and delicious and favorites of many of our customers. But yeah, a lot of times, I'll get up and be like, you know what, I'm going to do a strawberry filled holy biscuit today. So if you're not unfamiliar with it, we fry some of our biscuits. So we do a version of a donut, which is a fried buttermilk biscuit. And so sometimes we'll stuff it with strawberry jam, or I'll make a homemade custard and stuff it with that. Various different things like that. We'll do a strawberry shortcake holy biscuit, or we'll do a chocolate ganache topped, or a cookies and cream, just like various different things. And it is just as you said, like, I realize that it may not be this way forever, but for now we're small enough where I can wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to do chocolate ganache today, or I'm going to do a strawberry jam filled, or, let's do like a savory holy biscuit. We've done those before as well. So yeah, absolutely. It's fun creating things like that too, right? Coming up with like new flavors and testing them out and seeing how our customers really like them and the feedback we get. So it's kind of neat because I am in the beginning stages of growing this company. We're only 1 year in. And as we continue to grow, it's like we've already tested these things out, right? So as we're opening a new location in Plymouth Meeting, hopefully sometime by January. When we open that location, right, we'll have our foundation set and we'll know, okay, well, these things really work really well. These things are fan favorites and they're just awesome. And like, we'll stick with these. But I do hope that, for at least several more years to come, I'll be able to come up with creative ideas and just throw them on the menu kind of spontaneously, because that's the fun of it, right? So
I'm sure that both Jean and I are willing to be test subjects for you.
most definitely, yes, I'll sign you up. You're in.
Well, with the holidays coming up too, one of the things that you do is you do family packs of different things, combinations and things like that. So tell our listeners a little bit about, as we come up to Thanksgiving and what's available to them in that realm.
Absolutely. So last year for Thanksgiving, and we will do the same thing this year, we did biscuits to go. So basically, our customers could purchase vacuum sealed, prepared biscuits that had not yet been baked. So you can just pop them right in your oven Thanksgiving morning, Thanksgiving afternoon, what have you. Your house smells like, freshly made buttermilk biscuits. Everyone's happy. You don't have to tell your guests that they were made by the Biscuit Lady. You can just, hey, you have them, you made them. You don't have to say anything. We also do full trays and half trays of house-made macaroni and cheese, which is not on our menu every day right now, but hopefully in the future, that's something we can roll out. And our macaroni and cheese is like, knock your socks off. It's so good. We use a blend of many different cheeses. Again, everything is made from scratch. Make like a bechamel sauce. It's incredible. Again, that's a take and bake situation. So we would prepare the entire tray, take home, bake it in your oven. We will also be doing a cranberry brie take and bake biscuit, which is incredible. The brie gets, of course, all melty inside the biscuit. The cranberry jam is house made. So that is something that our listeners can look out for as well. And probably a few more little surprises that I'll kind of pop up like the week before Thanksgiving and say, you know what, we're going to do this year. So those three things that I mentioned can be expected for certain. And then we'll definitely throw some surprises in there as well.
So you touch on a lot of Southern roots in your, obviously, the biscuits, but you also do a biscuit with a side of gravy.
Oh, yes.
Where does that come from? I mean, there are skills and flavors that are handed down through generations.
Mm-hmm.
So, where did you, what was your inspiration for your gravy or Southern style gravy that you do with the biscuits and such?
So the gravy is actually, all the recipes are my own, but my husband, in fact, comes from like a Southern background. His family's from North Carolina. So a lot of the cuisine that I have made for the past decade plus kind of leans more towards Southern, right? Like I'll do like fried chicken, biscuits and gravy, biscuits, obviously, grits, shrimp and grits, like all of those things that I think that although I'm not from the South, right? Like those flavors just kind of come together over time. The more and more you do them, right? Like it's just repetition. So I am a big believer that just quality and simplicity is the most important thing in many different recipes. So I think that even not having a Southern background and not having like been classically trained or anything like that, and just knowing that high quality ingredients, simple ingredients like make the best dishes. That's kind of, I think, why everything tastes so amazing. Like we don't try to get like fancy with our sausage gravy. And not to say that like sage is a bad thing. I do not like sage in my sausage gravy. A lot of people do. Some people do. I don't, so we don't put that in. It's just really just classic, just delicious, like basic ingredients. So I think a lot of that just does really come from my husband's Southern roots, really. And just trying to be like, oh, I think I'll make this dish, right? Like that's how it is in the beginning of any relationship. You're like, oh, what can I cook up or what can I make? And just over the years, like my kids love that cuisine. And I think it's just a food that kind of comforts our soul. And like, for many people really enjoy that as well.
Well, we've come to the point in the show where it's time for you to tell our listeners how to find you online and in person and wrap this up. But it's been a great pleasure. So if you can so wonderfully tell our listeners how they can find your incredible biscuits.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we are currently located at 5154 Ridge Avenue in Roxborough. You can follow us on Instagram, the Biscuit Lady _Philly. And then our website is that's my jam 3.com. Instagram is where we'll put out all of our flavors for the week and kind of let all of our followers know exactly what they can expect for the menu for the upcoming week. And yeah, lots of exciting things to come. I'm looking forward to the future. So much more to come from the Biscuit Lady, but I really appreciate your time, and interviewing me and allowing me to showcase my menu.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we will be right back after this short break.
Thank you.